the Tory MP, under investigation for allegedly watching pornography on his phone in the Commons chamber, says he opened it accidentally.
Yeah, that's Neil Parish, who's rejected calls to stand down as an MP. He has had the whip suspended yesterday. He's a select committee chair, and he said he would be continuing his duties as an MP whilst cooperating with investigators.
Now, this is fascinating because he himself was on GB News 3 days ago before we knew who it was we were talking about. And this is what he told us about the incident.
I mean, I think the Whip's office will do a thorough investigation and we will wait and see that result. And I think, from that, then the decision will have to be made what action to be taken.
I mean, I guess he's not wrong in what he said, but the fact that it was him...
Yes, none of us knew at that point that it was him. He knew it was him, and yet he chose to do a TV interview on that subject without actually saying, it was me. What do you think he should have done? Well, Dr. John Coulter joins us now. He's a political commentator. Very good morning to you. Hello again. What do you think of that? I mean, I have to say it's left so many people at GB News absolutely gobsmacked.
Well, good morning, Anne. Good morning, Stephen. I think whenever we take Partygate, the Slee tsunami, now we've got Porngate. Well, the reality is that British parliamentary democracy is fast becoming the laughingstock of Western Europe. In fact, I would now compare British parliamentary democracy to the famous 1930s comedy slapstick film by Laurel and Hardy, Another Fine Mess. And that's the only way we can look at it. What we really need to have happen in our election system is for the moral compass of society to be rebooted. And what I mean by that is, I think it has to move. We are the people's channel here at GB News, so therefore the people should decide, not allow these MPs to decide whether they should resign or whether they should stay on or whether there should be an inquiry. So I'm going to put forward my solutions as a man of the people. Basically, we're talking about an introduction of an Australian-style compulsory voting, where we have turnouts in constituencies, if you take a look at Australia, somewhere in the region of 92 to 94%. I think if MPs and elected representatives knew that constituents were really going to turn out in vast numbers and decide on them, they would buck up their act. Because the big danger is if these porn gates, if these party gates are allowed to continue, you're going to get the electorate turning off the ballot box, and maybe we'll see elected representatives only elected maybe 15-20% of the vote from that point of view, because we're rapidly coming to a cliff edge in terms of public confidence in our parliamentary system. And secondly, I just want to throw this into the mix, and I know the snowflake and the woke brigade are going to be up in arms whenever I say this. Maybe the time is coming where if you need to be an elected representative, you need a license to be a public representative. I know that's contentious. I know that's controversial, but we've got to do something to clean up the acts.
How would you go about getting a license? I mean, because, obviously the concern with that would be, well, who regulates who gets a license?
Yes, I think you're looking at a completely new independent regulatory body. We have them in health, we have them in education. Why not have them in politics? Yes, I know that there are regulatory privilege bodies within the House of Commons and here in Northern Ireland at Stormont, but that's self-regulation. We need independent regulation of our elected representatives. And that's not just at the Houses of Parliament. It's right through council, right through everywhere else. For example, I grew up in a farming parish. So I know the front end of a cow from the back end of a cow. But that doesn't make me a qualified vet. I need to have a licence to be able to be a qualified vet. And I'm
certainly, if you look at the...
I was going to say a licence to be an MP. It's getting ridiculous.
It does. I think most people watching at the moment will totally agree. It is getting ridiculous. What the heck? You can't turn to the Prime Minister, I guess, to clean up Parliament, can you? Or even to clean up his own party. Even if you're a fan of Boris, you accept that he does things in a very unusual way. He's broken rules in the past. He has his own way of life. He was certainly the first Prime Minister ever to live in Number 10 with his girlfriend rather than his wife. So he's not the one to clean up even the Tory party, is he? You're explaining yourself, there's nobody to trust other than an entirely new body, but that would take years to set up.
Well, we can already start this process, Anne. Basically, I would say the faith communities in the United Kingdom, they can take a lead. I mean, take a look at the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. He recently entered the political debate with a really hard-hitting Easter speech and some really good comments about the situation in Ukraine. Now, if Justin Welby can lead the way, all the representatives could get together, an interfaith forum to lead the way to reset the moral compass. Because I think we're looking at this from the wrong angle. We're looking at it from the Prime Minister down, whereas we should be looking from the ground up. And we, the people of the United Kingdom, we, the people who elect these people into power, we should be the ones who have the control of the ballot box, not the people who take the results of the ballot box and interpret their own way.
It's interesting that you talk about the moral compass sort of going astray, but we need to look back in history as well, don't we? And when a party has been in power for a long time, of whatever colour that party is, there does reach a point where these things start to escalate. Maybe it's they just sort of rest on their laurels a little bit, and the members or parliamentary members do. I mean, so this happens. It happens in a cycle. It happens every time, doesn't it? I mean, maybe the only reset we need is when we have a general election.
Maybe we need to look then, Stephen, at the American presidential system, where you can only serve 2 terms, 8 years. Maybe we should put a time limit on the number of years that an MP, a councillor, so on and so forth, can serve in their respective parliaments and councils. Is that an idea where we're bringing in fresh blood from that aspect of things? I also think as well we need to look at the voting age. Perhaps one way of looking at this is through maybe our schools and colleges and introducing citizenship studies where people are taught how to be proper citizens in society, and that we lower the voting age in the United Kingdom perhaps down as low as 14, because young people will be mature, responsible politically, and they will be able to influence MPs and councillors. Radical thinking, but something urgent needs to be done about this sleaze tsunami that is inflicting our nation.
Sleaze tsunami.
Interesting. John Coulter, good to talk to you. Thank you very much. What a load of interesting points.